It's a gorgeous night for baseball under the Gateway Arch of St. Louis on the banks of the Mississippi. Tonight it's game number 2 from Busch Stadium in St. Louis between the world champion St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres. Dramatic win last night for St. Louis after coughing up what could have been a potential win. Well, Tyler Green made sure they got it. A home run to right center off a hard thrower. Afterwards, he visited with Jim Hayes.
Guy throws 100. He's just hoping he leaves something over the middle of the plate, and was just trying to get the barrel there.
When you hit the ball, did you know it was gone?
I wasn't sure. You never know here. It's tricky sometimes. But, I mean, it felt good. I'm so pumped right now.
And let's hope that that carries over here to game 2 tonight. Welcome to baseball, along with my partner Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. And Ricky, obviously a very emotional and big win for the Cards.
Yeah, nice win, but emotion is the big word, Dan. Cardinals coming off a 4-game losing streak, really a rough time on the road. They haven't had a lot of big emotional wins go in their direction. Last night was one of them. You saw the excitement of Tyler Green when he rounded first base. Hopefully that will carry over the rest of the series.
When we come back, we'll talk it over with a guy that knows a thing or two about raising money for a great cause. That's Skip Schumacher. If you're a collector out there, you want to make sure and stay with us. We'll tell you why right after this. Back in St. Louis, the Plaza of Champions just outside the ballpark. San Diego and the Cardinals in game number 2. We know him as a very fine baseball player, but also even a better person. Skip Schumacher heading up the Stars for Baby Risa.
There is not a more popular player in the Cardinal dugout than Skip Schumacher, and Skip is very close to this particular cause. Baby Risa, a friend of his, and a genetic birth disorder, a rare genetic birth disorder, and he's going to have an autograph session, and it'll be at Sunrise United Methodist Church on the 19th of July to help her out and help out the family.
And again, that's Cardinals, Rams, Blues, the 19th of July. Skip Schumacher, no surprise there, making friends again, signing autographs. Volquez and Wainwright, a look at those two when we come back.
Our strong pitching matchup starts with Edinson Volquez. Cardinal fans remember him from his Cincinnati days. Hard thrower, but a really nasty slider and changeup. Cardinals need to get to him early. For the Cardinals, they'll go with Adam Wainwright. Wainwright has been up and down some this year. He needs to keep the ball in the ballpark, and his walks have been up the last couple of outings, but he is still the Cardinal ace. Good pitching matchup. Baseball right around the corner. We'll have more on Fox Sports Midwest after this.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Beautiful city of St. Louis, the Arch grounds. It is beautiful this time of year. As the umpires are on the scene, what a perfect night for baseball here, Rick.
It really is. The Cardinals coming off an emotional win last night, the game that looked like it might be over. Jason Mott wasn't able to get the job done in the 8th inning uncharacteristically, but the Cardinals behind Tyler Green were able to rally, and I know the fans here loved it, but I think the players even more so, Dan, had that sense that, boy, this was a win we needed, and they're going to have Adam Wainwright pitching game 2.
Cardinals come into play tonight at 23-19. They've won just 3 of 11, but that third win, as you mentioned, a huge win, and you have to have those kind of home runs, those moments along the way if you're going to be a successful team.
It's a physical game, but it's also an emotional game, and last night hit on the emotion, and we'll see if that carries over here tonight.
The hero from last night, Tyler Green, and let's take a look at the lineup for the San Diego Padres. This is a team that has to generate their offense with their speed at the top of the lineup with Will Venable and then Cameron Maybin. Yonder Alonso, the former farmhand of the Reds, Jesus Guzman, Baker, Amarista, Everett Cabrera, Perino, and Edinson Volquez. The right-hander looking for another win here tonight is Adam Wainwright. He's lost his last two. He's surrendered 10 runs, 15 hits. Take that aside, Rick. The real concern right now, how about the 9 walks in his last 2 starts?
Yeah, you worry if that's an indication of maybe him not trusting his stuff anymore, and maybe he's trying to do a little bit too much, being a little fine. But walks never help you, and he is going to have to stay out of the middle of the zone, especially against Yonder Alonso. I think that'll be a key matchup here tonight. Alonso is hitting very well, swinging the bat well from the left side, and that'll be the guy that's the big test, I think, for Adam Wainwright.
2 seasons ago, Bud Black was the manager of the year in the National League when they won 90 games, and it's hard to believe, but this is his 6th season as the head man in there for San Diego.
Well, manager of the year 2010, and really probably could have been that manager of the year again another season. He's had a couple of good seasons, 3 down seasons, and really his club really struggling, and they have 13 players, Dan. We mentioned it last night, 13 players on the disabled list.
What are you looking for early on out of Adam Wainwright?
I'm looking for the velocity on his fastball, which is something I don't normally look for, but I think with him it may be a trigger as to whether or not he's comfortable with throwing the ball in the strike zone, which is what he needs to do.
Game time temperatures 77 degrees. That pitch is taken high, and this is Will Venable, who's batting .264 with a pair of home runs and 6 RBIs. Breaks his bat, and there's an out. The defense behind Adam tonight. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs, Holiday, Chambers, and Beltran. Carpenter, Furcal, Green, and Adams. Behind the plate, Yadier Molina. Adam Wainwright is on the mound. Chambers getting the start in center field.
Brings a lot of energy, doesn't it?
He sure does.
We talked about emotion last night. He brings it every day to the ballpark, and you can hardly think about the 2011 season without thinking about his energy down the stretch.
And scoring on that wild pitch against Chicago down the stretch in regular season play. Tough start right now for Cameron Maben. Takes it just a little bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Maben trying to bunt his way on and pushes it foul.
That last pitch was the cutter from Adam Wainwright, which is a pitch that he's given up a few home runs on this year, and he's got to keep that pitch down. The fastball early on at 91, not bad.
The 1-2 pitch. That is a nasty breaking ball that time. A lot sharper. And speaking of nasty, we flash back. Adam Wainwright. There's that nasty breaking ball, and he closed out every series back in 2006. After that, it was the Mets, and then it was Brandon Inge and the Detroit Tigers en route to the 2006 championship. Also, the common theme there was the breaking balls that you saw. Curveball on that last pitch you just saw. We know about Beltran, called 3rd strike, and then Inge a strikeout.
The curveball is a pitch we often focus on with Wainwright because it's the most dramatic, and it really is his go-to pitch. But the fastball really sets that up, and the reason he's able to get a strikeout on Maben is he was able to get ahead of him, had a good fastball, a good cutter. Then that set up that pitch there, the curveball. It gets guys a little bit defensive at the plate.
Wainwright in his career 2-1 against San Diego with a .82 ERA. It's early, but the curveball looks sharper tonight. Inside fastball, and he tied him up, hit his spot, and a strikeout. No score as we move to the bottom of the 1st, and let's take a look at the last pitch moments ago by Wainwright.
And it was a power pitch from Wainwright. It looked like it might have been a cutter when we saw it, but we saw the grip up close, and we could tell it was just a 4-seamer. that had a little action to it, and he hit his spot up and in. Good start for Adam Wainwright.
Furcal will lead it off, and then Carpenter, Holiday, Beltran, Molina, Adams, Green, Chambers, and Wainwright. The pitcher they'll see possesses a very good changeup when he is right. And that's when he's right. We just don't know if he is right now. And that's Edinson Volquez, the former Red.
Last 5 outings, he's been pretty good. He's only had 1 bad start in that period of time. And Volquez, we know him from the Reds. He's got the changeup you mentioned, Dan, but he also has a very sharp breaking ball at times. And when the breaking ball is good, it's dominating.
Rafael Furcal leads it off. This time last year, he was toiling with the LA Dodgers. And Dee Gordon was on his way to being the everyday shortstop. What a difference a year makes as Furcal is having an all-star type campaign. He's batting .350, 2 home runs, and he's driven in 21.
He's done a nice job of getting things started in the right direction as a leadoff hitter for St. Louis. And be important tonight, Volquez is a guy that when he struggles early. One of the things they've told him is come out throwing hard. Come out with your best stuff. There are a lot of times he doesn't. In inning number 1. There's that power changeup.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Difference between a power changeup and just a regular straight change is the power change you can get some swings and misses on. Because it's going to sink, it's going to move a lot, and you'll use it as an out pitch, and he'll do that.
You know, Volquez has been traded twice now in his career. I guess there's a couple of ways to look at that. One, the team that trades you away, that, well, they just don't want you anymore. But then you look at the names that have been involved in those deals, and one was Josh Hamilton. He came over from Texas to Cincinnati. That was the Hamilton deal in 2007. And then last year, 4-player deal, Matt Latos going to Cincinnati. That's a fair ball, and Volquez is at the bag. So pretty good deal all the way around, especially from the San Diego perspective of things and getting 4 for 1. Volquez acquired by the Rangers, was not drafted, and then signed. Hamilton, that deal in 2007, and then the Latos deal. And it's not just Volquez, it's also a great catcher they believe is going to be a stud in their minor league system that they picked up from Cincinnati, and the everyday first baseman now in Alonso.
And Latos up to a kind of a so-so start with Cincinnati. He's had a couple of wins, but really a tough place to pitch for him as opposed to San Diego.
And Volquez talking about that this spring. The fact is that he leaves some very hitter-friendly ballparks in the NL Central, including his own, and winds up going to such a spacious ballpark in Petco, and one of the toughest hitters parks in all of baseball, as Carpenter gets another start tonight. And he shoots one the other way. This will get down, and it goes to the wall. Matt Carpenter will trot into second base, and I think he may be hurt. He took a very odd turn around first base, and this does not look good. He's holding his side. You got to be kidding me.
It has been such a tough couple of weeks for the Cardinals injury-wise. Matheny goes out with Chris Conroy, the assistant trainer, grabbing his right side.
And Rick, I'm not sure if he did it on the swing or how he approached going down the line and running. Oh, it's a swing.
Grabs his side right away and just kind of guts it out the rest of the way. He's in pain and just somehow gets to second base, and that, you don't want to speculate on an injury, but we saw Skip Schumacher do exactly the same thing in spring training with his oblique. And Matt Carpenter has been swinging the bat so well.
And this is one of the guys that Mike Matheny can use in so many different spots with his flexibility. First base, third base, the outfield. This would be a huge loss, and Carpenter has really given you more than probably you expected at the beginning of the year. Agreed?
No question. And he's been good enough so you can afford to give David Freese a couple of days off, kind of mental days for David. Descalzo becomes the pinch runner. So Mike Matheny committed to the off day for David Freese as he's trying to work out some mechanical issues.
Holiday takes a ball upstairs. That is hard to imagine that now Matt Carpenter is hurt. Just by watching him, you worry about, you know, the rib cage in that side area, which can linger for weeks, if not months. Cardinals have already been pressed into bringing up Matt Adams before they wanted to. So Descalso takes over. He's the runner at second base. Holiday on the year is sitting on 9 home runs. A high strike and away, but Holiday let it go for the strike, and it's 1-2. Against Volquez, he's 5 for 12, pair of home runs. Volquez very much an up and down season a year ago. He was the Reds opening day starter and then even spent time in the minor leagues to get straightened out. And this is a guy that has been an all-star before in his career.
He has top shelf stuff, and there's no question about that. And there are some times when Cardinals saw him early. First game he pitched against the Cardinals, he was electric.
The 2-2. Grounder to short. Advancing on the play. Descalso to third. And there's 2 outs. A look at the defense for San Diego. Guzman, Maben, and Venable in the outfield. Perino, Cabrera, Amarista, Alonso along the infield. John Baker is behind the plate. And around the horn is presented by Dobbs. So Bud Black is saying, I don't feel sorry for anybody else.
I was thinking the same thing. Don't tell me about injuries. His list is a little longer than the Cardinals. But I would dare say he doesn't have the same key players on his list that the Cardinals do.
Carlos Quentin being a big one for them concerning their lineup. As far as experience, the most recent was Mark Kotze.
Kyle Blank's also a player that they have high hopes in.
That's a base hit into right. Beltran drives in his 34th. 1-0 St. Louis. Carlos Beltran. Gimpy knee and all. They need his bat in that lineup. He comes through again.
And again, the smooth swing of Carlos Beltran. Not much to it. Just lay the bat out, make good contact. Well, the Cardinals do indeed get to Volquez early. But it may have come at a price.
So again, if you're just joining us, it could be the side of Matt Carpenter on a swing. Turned into a double. He was hurt on. This team is already missing Lance Berkman. Out with a knee injury. That's a foul ball. The Cardinals did get a second opinion on Kyle McClellan, which did confirm the first that he does not need surgery. So that's good news. And Mike Matheny also saying before the game that Alan Craig will be back by June 1st and John Jay by May 31st, when those 2 players are eligible to come off the disabled list. See the left fielder in your screen, and they shade Yadier the other way. if he was healthy, you'd think about the chance of Beltran stealing second base. He's too shy of 300 for his career.
Big word, though, is if. Beltran has been playing really probably about 80% would be my guess. Still swinging the bat, but he's not moving quite as well in the outfield or on the base paths, and he can run when he has to, but Cardinals just need him in the lineup right now. And all that news you're talking about June, I think Mike Matheny's worried about May 22nd.
There's a backhanded play, nicely done, and takes the hit away from Yadier Molina and potentially an RBI. The play by Perino, we saw him at short last night. 1-0 St. Louis. Christian Day at the ballpark, and the featured speaker will be Cardinals manager Mike Matheny. Also, Clint Hurdle will be a part of that, the manager of the Pirates. Fly ball to Chambers, making his first ever big league start tonight. We saw him as a defensive replacement last year and a pinch runner, but making his first start. And that comes at center field tonight here at Busch Stadium.
And a good outfielder by all reports. We know about his speed. Not every fast outfielder is necessarily fast defensively. We've seen some players like that over the years, but I think Chambers has kind of really worked on his outfield play, and you know, there's questions whether he's a better center fielder or a corner outfielder, but Cardinals really at this point, Dan, are putting people defensively where they can play. And you can't put Carlos Beltran in center right now because of his knee.
And that's something that, you know, Mike had talked about, if healthy with this team, that you would see a Beltran, because of his flexibility as a switch hitter, to play against lefties and sit John Jay if need be. But throw that out the window right now. They're just worried about having a healthy 9 night in and night out.
Our discussion about 10 days ago is, what in the world are the Cardinals going to do when Alan Craig comes back? Where are they going to put it?
Just get some healthy bodies out there now.
Right.
So on the bench for Mike Matheny, Cruz, Robinson, and Freese, Skip Schumacher, the lefty. Taken just a bit low, 2-2.
So when Matt Carpenter went out with his injury, and we'll try to get you a report as soon as we can about his condition right now, we think it was something to do with an oblique, but it's just a guess at this point. Really not a lot of choices for Mike Matheny. Could have brought in Skip Schumacher, moved Tyler Green to third, would have been the only other option. If you are committed to the off day for David Freese, and Mike said in the pregame show that they're working on some things with David Freese in his swing, and they'd hate to throw him into game action in the middle of him changing some things, so they're committed to him not playing today.
And David was saying yesterday that technically he's out of whack. He's opening up his hips too much, pulling off the ball, and that's not like him because of his great success shooting the ball to the opposite field. And that is a strikeout. That's the third for Wainwright here in the second inning.
Check out the location. Good pitcher's pitch. I'm not sure that's on the black, but strikeout victim is John Baker. 3 now for Wainwright.
Marista gets a start again in this series. 5'7", 150 pounds. Had a big night against the Angels over the weekend, and he's trying to make a case to play more since his call up. 6'7", reaches for it, puts it away, and a guy that weighs 250 will lead it off when we come back. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Edinson Volquez, a look at his last 5 starts. It's our Toyota keys to the game.
Good walk to strikeout ratio, 12-27. Opponents hitting just 220. And again, he can be very good, very dominating Cardinals got a run in the first inning, but don't stop now. Get a lot of runs early against him, because if he gets settled down, he gets really confident on the mound. And if he doesn't get settled, he'll start to show some cracks in his psyche and in his mound presence, and that's where the Cardinals want him to be.
The official word, right side tightness, is what we get from the Cardinals medical staff, and that's pulled foul. Matt Carpenter, the flexibility of all the positions he can play, but also the fact that he was hitting fairly well against lefties this year too.
Really a complete player that can play a lot of different positions. And you know, at some point the number of injuries just kind of make you a little gun shy too, in terms of how you play the game. If you realize all these injuries start adding up, you have to play this game fearlessly. But when you start looking at that disabled list, it's only human nature to have that start affecting you after a while.
A 2-1 pitch. There's that changeup. 2-2. Well, we'll get an extended look at this young man, Matt Adams, minor league player of the year a season ago for the Cardinals. 2 for 4 on Sunday. And breaks his bat. Goes 2 for 4, and he gets the baseball Sunday night. Sent it right back to mom and dad in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania. Mentioned last night that he attended Slippery Rock University. That's a Division II school. He was an All-American there. And then once he got to the professional ranks, he just took off. In his minor league career, he has averaged an RBI every 4 at-bats. That's pretty impressive. The 2-2.
And one of those players that just keeps developing before your eyes. When you draft a player, you're never quite sure, especially the guys from high school or Division II, maybe even some junior college guys. You're not sure how they're going to compete against the best of the best. And it seems to have brought out the best in Matt Adams. He just keeps getting better and better.
Here's a 2-2. Just got a piece. We had a season ticket holder event for season ticket holders in the bleachers. And that exact point was talked about. Cardinals front office giving a presentation on some of the young players, and Adams obviously was brought up. But Mr. Gersh, the assistant GM to John Mozeliak, was talking about the fact that, you know, a baseball draft is completely different than what you see sometimes in hockey and definitely in the NFL. You draft a guy in the NFL, high picks, they're expected to play next fall.
No question.
These guys, it takes time to develop.
In some cases, you go to a low minor league level and you may be playing in conditions not as good as the University of Miami or Southern California. You're playing in some minor league cities where you're just kind of at the bottom of the barrel again.
Nice round of applause for Tyler Green. Carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email the booth questions. What a night it was for Tyler last night. He saved the day. First Cardinals second baseman since Mark Grudzielanek back in 2005, with 2 separate 3-hit games, which include a home run and a 2-bagger. He's saying, I don't care what bat I have in my hands, even this Yadier Molina bat, I'm up there hacking. That's what he has right now. Rick, maybe we can talk a little bit about the fact that he has dropped his elbow, which has been a factor for Green. Jumps on the pitch and pulls it foul.
Elbows are closer together even. Not only is the back elbow not up, both elbows are kind of pulled in together. And I think the key for Tyler Green is to hit that pitch up and in, middle in. And there's the Yadier Molina model bat that Tyler is using.
So he's lowered the elbow just ever so slightly. And last night it was 101 miles an hour, the pitch that he knocked out of the ballpark. So he hits a home run last night, trying to bunt for a base hit tonight.
keep your elbow up is lesson number one that many coaches give young little leaguers, and it is absolutely the wrong thing to tell them to do. If you're putting your elbow up into the air, that is all that does is create a long swing. And a long swing for a guy like Tyler Green isn't going to work, especially when you're throwing 105 miles an hour. You have to send the bat head. You have to throw your hands to the ball. You have to keep your hands inside the ball. You have to get the bat head out. And if it's a long swing, it's not going to work at this level.
We have the camera right now tight on Tyler Green, and you can see that he's confused. Something's going on here where he looked into the home plate area and was asking about the count. Then he goes down to Jose Oquendo, who then was told to go back to his box at third base. He's looking in the dugout, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think that's the question. Right down the middle, ball 2. Well, now we got the count right.
I think Volquez is thinking the same thing we are. That was strike 3.
Looked pretty good to me.
Tyler will take it, evens it up at 2-2. Volquez is working with the backup catcher tonight. That's John Baker. Those two have not been on the same page. Here's a 2-2. The fly ball into shallow right center. Maben takes charge and makes the play. Brings in Chambers. Well, last season he spent the majority of the year at AAA. He was the everyday center fielder. He's now 25. And here's another guy that you talk about, Ricky, that you just don't know what you might have. A 38th round selection. There are over 1,100 guys picked in front of Chambers. Cardinals have really liked his defense for the most part. Adds an element of speed. Made 10 appearances, you might remember, in postseason play. 5 coming in the division series and the championship series. He was 1 for 3 with a couple of RBIs. Was added to Game 7 of the World Series roster after Holiday was injured.
What was contagious about Chambers was not only the way he played on the field, Dan, and what kind of energy he brought to the field, but just the way he talked about baseball in all of his interviews, both before and after games. He was just so thankful and so excited to be a big leaguer, to be a Cardinal, and just kind of oozed enthusiasm. And I think that caught on with the fans right away.
Adrian slices one into left center. Maben is there to make the catch. Brings in Adam Wainwright. We remind you that MLB At Bat can be found at Cardinals.com. And you can text At Bat to 31826. Cardinals.com, and by definition, wherever you may be. They really like Cameron Maben, by the way, in center field. You've seen him a couple of times now in this inning. One, he took charge in shallow right center, and that ball just slicing off the bat of Chambers. Long, lanky, and he can fly in center. Two outs. Matt Adams is the runner at first, and here's a 1-0 pitch to Wainwright. Wainwright shoots it into left center field. Will Maben get this one? He does on the run. Shading Wainwright opposite way, and Maben, who can fly, makes the catch in left center. Takes the hit and RBI away. Special guest coming up next. Entrance by the Stan the Man statue, and it's 1-0 St. Louis as we move to the top of the third, and our special guest is Scott Terry. And we have the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics ready to fire up. Every time I see you, I'm happy because I know summer's just about here. Good to see you again. How are you?
Yes, you too. Oh, we're ready to go. It's our 8th year. Can you believe it?
That is hard to believe. And some of the biggest names that the Cardinals have had in recent memory are part of this, and Scott Terry, mind you.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah,
they actually involved me. That's hard to believe.
That's great. The Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics as we get a look at Wainwright back to work. And what that is, one-day clinics, and it's boys and girls ages 7 to 13, and it's baseball fundamentals. And I know that you and many of the former players really enjoy this.
We do. It's a great way to give back to the community. It's a great way to catch a rapport with the kids and to get them started on their way, or to help them with wherever they are in their careers, and pass on some knowledge and have some fun for a day. Can't beat baseball in the summer. It's
awesome. And coming up in early June, Fairview Heights, June 12th and 14th. Just log on to cardinals.com/clinics. So moms and dads out there, cardinals.com/clinics. And you guys are all over the Metro St. Louis area, so you're working a bunch.
Yeah, we have. We added a new place. We're out at Highland, Illinois for the first time this year. Last year we added Columbia, Illinois and Arnold. And we've had our mainstays where we've been every year, such as Fairview Heights and Chesterfield, St. Peters, Manchester. Ellisville is a fairly new one. It's our 2nd year there. So we're happy to come to you and be a part of your kids' summer and give them some baseball knowledge and have all kinds of good time. Care package they get.
Yeah, that's always a key
get
to
some
talk
autographs.
about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strikeout there of Cabrera. That's 4 on the night now for Wainwright, so he's off to a good start. You get a Cardinals cap, 2 tickets to a game this season. You get the T-shirt, as you mentioned, autographs, and then the best part is the individual instruction that you are able to provide. And I know that you are a stickler for mechanics, and that one is drilled into right field, and that ball is off the wall. Perino is in with a stand-up double, but let's talk a little bit about mechanics. What do you try to teach these kids? You know, they show up at camp and run us through the day and how long it lasts and what you're trying to do.
Well, we have 5 stations. We have a throwing station, we have a fly ball station, a ground ball station, a hitting station, and base running station. And baseball is all about body position and technique, and then it's creating a repetition of those things. The game doesn't change. It stays the same. The field gets bigger. The kids get bigger and faster. But the fundamentals of baseball will always be the same, whether it's throwing or whether it's catching. And we just help them with all the technique that they need to give them that level of success that they all hope to attain.
For Kyle, retires Volquez. We're back to the top of the lineup. 2 down, and Will Venable.
You know, we get all kinds of kids with all kinds of abilities. You get 7 to 9-year-olds in one clinic. We get 10 to 13-year-olds in another clinic. Sometimes we do 7 all the way to 13 if we have all ages. So you get the different sizes, you get the different speeds. You got left-handed, you got right-handed, and baseball doesn't see size.
No.
It sees technique, it sees ability, it sees talent. You know, the mechanics and the body position are so key to these kids putting themselves in a position to have success. And we're finding that if kids have success, they're willing to work at it and they have a lot of fun with it. When they fail at it, they have a tendency to try to find something else to do.
Yeah, how about some of the names of the former players that'll be there?
We've got Ken Daly, Jason Simon Tachi, Cliff Polite, Pat Perry, John Costello. Those are all of my guys that are going to help with the throwing station. We've got Stan Royer, Ken Reitz, Rich Hacker, Neil Fiala, Kurt Ford. Do a lot of things with the outfield and the infield, the fly balls, and guys that do hitting instruction such as Scott Cooper. So we got a lot of people that got a lot of knowledge and want to pass it on to the kids.
You and Scott Cooper, Matt Whiteside, a former major leaguer, still here in town. You guys are doing a lot of work over at All-Star in Kirkwood, so kids can find out all about you and Scott, who's a great instructor for kids and the gamers, which he runs, and you're a part of that too. So I mean, there's a chance to go to Kirkwood and All-Star Performance and find out how to get help.
Absolutely, and the gamer kids help us at all the clinics. They're a great benefit because every one of the guys that are instructing at a station will have those kids that will help them be an extension of the instructor. And you know, when you go to All-Star Performance, a place like that, you get a chance to go one-on-one with an instructor. And what we do at the clinics, obviously it's not one-on-one, but it's a small enough ratio where you're going to get enough attention from each instructor as an individual that they're going to lead you and guide you in a direction that's going to benefit you.
Scott Terry is our guest, and that is taken for a strike. 8 a.m. to 12:30 most Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout the summer. Again, the kids get a cap, tickets to a game, the t-shirt, and then individual instruction, team instruction from former major league players. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Venable. Breaks his bat, and Descalso will make the play. Always good to see you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
We'll check you out over at All-Star 2.
Sounds great. Thanks, Dan.
You bet. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and the Cardinals behind Wainwright lead it 1-0. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. Beautiful night for baseball here in St. Louis. We're at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, and it's 1-0 Cardinals leading the Padres.
I've got my slider back, working on it with Scott Terry in the back of the booth here.
He is a stickler when it comes to mechanics.
Oh man, I see no mechanics.
Al will always say there's never the perfect way to throw a baseball, but there's certain things I would assume that would fit and apply that you just don't want to do, and some things you definitely want to do.
There's some fundamentals that every pitcher does. You get to the same spot, you kind of have some things about how you take the ball out of your glove, and Scott Terry and the Cardinal camps, he does a great job of teaching that. In fact, my nephew, who's going to pitch at Cornell next year, flew all the way out here to take pitching lessons from Scott Terry.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Scott, I mentioned, along with Scott Cooper and Matt Whiteside, they're located at All-Star Performance in Kirkwood, and they have done just a wonderful job in trying to help kids in this area get to that next level. And some of the big leaguers in the offseason, you'll find them working out at that facility. It is second to none. Here's a 2-1 pitch. For Kyle, bounces it to the right side. And there's the first out. Our game time temperature here in the Gateway City, 77 degrees. Rick, Dan, the entire crew with you. And Descalso will have his first plate appearance. He has scored, though, the lone run. Again, the injury, right side tightness to Matt Carpenter. Started at third base, picked up a double, and then had to leave. No David Freese for the second consecutive game, trying to make sure that he gets his swing right.
Daniel Descalso and Tyler Green both participated with the DARE program prior to the game with me, and they had a number of students out here talking about the DARE initiatives, and many of them here at the ballpark. And Daniel promised him, actually I promised for him, that he hit a home run in this game.
That's not going to help.
That's not a good start. Then I found out he wasn't starting, which made it even worse. But Daniel Descalso did hit a game-winning home run last year on the DARE day at the ballpark.
Daniel is 0 for 1. And we have a big telecast coming up. We always love doing this. It'll be Friday night, and it'll be carried on the American Forces Network. Army soldiers from Missouri and Afghanistan, their families will be in attendance. It's always an emotional telecast for us, and that'll be on Friday night. Two outs, and here's Holiday. You might remember last year we had a young lady where she was here in the booth and her husband was overseas deployed, and those two had a chance to see each other for the first time in months. That's backhanded by the second baseman as Volquez hit the deck, and Holiday is 0 for 2. This Missouri Moment is brought to you by the Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And right now you're looking at Johnson's Shut-ins State Park in Middlebrook. And Johnson's has been a favorite of State Parks of many visitors for many years. And the park is a geological wonder, and many people enjoy its beautiful day use area. That's Johnson's Shut-ins State Park in Lesterville. And you can just see so many great places to go and parks, areas around here in St. Louis, but across the state. Visit mo.com.
Beautiful state. Very proud of it.
Adam may have gotten away with that pitch, and a fly ball to Chambers for the first out. But so far, so good. Maben is 0 for 2 as we play here with 1 out in the top of the 4th. And Rick, you highlighted Alonso on your card as the guy that Adam really needs to bear down against.
Well, he's hitting over 300. He's been hot of late, batting from the left side, really become their #1 offensive threat. Wainwright pitched him very well in the first inning, struck him out on a high 4-seam fastball up and in. We'll see if he attacks him differently in this at-bat. As part of the little cat and mouse game between a pitcher and a hitter, just because you got him out one way in the first inning doesn't mean you can do it again in the 4th. He may make an adjustment, so you want to adjust 1 notch ahead of him.
He's batting 196 on April 25th, and now he's 30 for his last 84, and this season by starts.
Yeah, Wainwright really having trouble with the home run ball early on his first 5 starts. The last 3, it's been more the walk that's been the problem.
They feel that Alonso may be suited perfectly for the ballpark in San Diego. And the reason being is that they project him to be more of a gap hitter, not necessarily a home run hitter, but a guy that picks up a lot of doubles. The 1-2 pitch, strikes out. It's 5 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. June 16th, you can pick up a World Champions Pet Bowl for your furry friend. Compliments of Nestle Purina. Available to 25,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Cardinals.com to get your tickets. Here's Guzman. And Rick, last night we began our telecast talking about the fact that, well, you finished up with Dick Enberg.
I did.
We started talking about the fact that the starters just have not been going deep into games. But we did see last night Jaime Garcia. He went 7 innings, and that was the first time a Cardinals starter has done that since May 9th.
And he's the only starter the last 2 times through the rotation to go 7. And that's something we need out of Wainwright. And we do want to thank Dick Enberg and our friend Mark Grant for allowing us to simulcast last night. Fox Sports San Diego was kind enough with our technical difficulties to make it a little team effort last night, and good to work with the legend Dick Enberg. And oh, Mr. Grant's a fun guy, isn't he?
There's a breaking ball. He was fooled by it, puts it in play. And stepping on the bag, Matt Adams. A 1-2-3 inning for Wainwright. He looks sharp tonight. Middle of the lineup is coming up. There's nothing like it in sports. The cat fight with Jim Hayes. Tomorrow at 6:30. Only on Fox Sports Midwest. Jim gears up for that so much, Rick, that he needed the night off. You have nothing to add to that?
I don't.
I mean, I left it wide open for you to take your shot.
I always have to be careful with the cat.
Put it on a tee, you know?
Yeah, no, don't want to take a shot at the cat. We miss him when he's not here, and he adds so much to our telecast. And I do appreciate the cat fight. As a way
have you been on it yet?
I have been I've been a cameo guest, is what he calls me, where I just kind of walk through, but have not been.
Wait a minute. You have not been the actual.
I have not been the lifeline. And that's kind of a pressure situation. You're supposed to know some answers if you do that. But I've just kind of did a little pass through a couple times.
So you're telling me that you just showed up on the set and then, you know, just walked right on by and that was it?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Very nice. Stealth. 0-2 the count on Carlos Beltran. Well, Volquez was saying that he needed a fresh start, and he gets it in San Diego. He had to serve a 50-game suspension at one point for a banned substance. He also has been coming back from Tommy John surgery. I found it interesting as Beltran is 2 for 2, but he said he came back, Rick, in about 9.5 months, and it didn't take him all that long to sit there and say, you know what, I'm not right. And I think at times we've seen that with Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, he's got a way to go to get back to the Wainwright that we've seen in the past, but I don't think anybody's too worried about Wainwright paying the price to get there, and Cardinals fortunately have gotten good results from other starting pitchers, so it's been less of an issue. It wasn't for Loesch and Westbrook and Garcia, what they've done this year, and Lance Lynn especially, who pitches the final game of this series, then it might stick out a little bit more what Wainwright has been doing so far.
Molina first time up, rounded out sharply to third. A good play by Perino to take a hit away. Average has jumped up to 303, 5 home runs. He's driven in 20. Beltran staying put. Wonder if he was crossed up here.
Not sure he was crossed up or he just boxed it.
I think he did. I think he just boxed it.
It happens.
1 ball and 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Volquez is from the Dominican. Grew up idolizing Pedro Martinez. Runner goes, and it's hit out of play. And Volquez here at Busch Stadium, 0-2, ERA over 7. 15 hits allowed, 6 walks in 12 innings. As a member of the Cincinnati Reds. One-two pitch and a double play ball. 4, 6, 3.
Volquez's numbers, his career against St. Louis. He had a very good first start, 7 innings, no earned runs, and that's that game where we were talking about him being electric. Really learned to refine his changeup with Mario Soto when he was in the Reds organization, Cueto as well. But the Cardinals have hit him pretty well since then.
Matt Adams walked his first time up and then was left stranded. Not much of a sample size, but at AAA, he had .379 against right-handed pitching. Only .237 against lefties. But Rick, when you bring him up and he's forced into play because of the injuries that this club has sustained now to Carpenter tonight, Berkman long term, it looks like he's got to play.
He's up here to play. He's going to play against lefties. He's going to play against righties. You know, he'll have his struggles against certain pitchers, and expect that to happen when a guy comes from AAA. But the pitchers in AAA are very close to being big leaguers. They're not just kind of flipping it up there. So the fact that he hit .340 overall against AAA pitching tells me he's ready to hit here. Not much movement. kind of really balanced at the plate, kind of a short stroke for a big guy. And we mentioned last night, Dan, how much power he has the other way. We saw that in spring training.
Cardinals did not have to make room for him on the 40-man roster. It was down to 38, so they just had to add him to it. The 3-1 pitch, and it's taken for a ball. Two walks, and both have been to Adams. Brings in Tyler Green. Great first time up, fly to center.
There's the mound presence we were talking about with Volquez. When things starts to go bad, he sometimes gets a little mad at himself, and we'll watch for that. The walk to Adams. We look at where he is on the rubber. Really just his toe up against the rubber. You know, the rule book says you're supposed to have your foot in front of the rubber. It's not enforced, however.
Maben makes the catch. Cardinals strand their second runner of the night. Both times it's been Adams. Fifth inning rolls in, 1-0 St. Louis. Brian McCann, who works in our truck, had some very sad news to pass along, and all of us affiliated with Fox Sports and the Cardinals are sad to learn of the passing of Phil Harmon, who was a great Cardinals fan and a season ticket holder. So to Phil's family, very sorry about the news, and he will be missed. That's Phil Harmon. Baker fouls one, 0-2. Baker, Amarista, and Cabrera.
6 left-handed bats in the Padres lineup, and Wainwright has done a nice job of jamming the lefties with his cutter. We mentioned earlier, Dan, that was the pitch where he's given up some home runs early on with the hanging cutter, but he's getting that pitch in on lefties. We've seen a number of jam shots already, and there he's going to go back in again. Same pitch. That ball is hitting not exactly near the hands of Baker, but more towards the hand than toward the barrel of the bat. And that's where you get those weak fly balls and broken bats.
Here's the 0-2. Bounces it in the dirt. Good pitch. Adam has struck out 5. I'm sure in the back of his mind, Rick, he's wondering, when am I going to turn the corner? You know, here's a guy that has been a 20-game winner. Some believe he should have won the Cy Young once, if not twice. He's a candidate at least, and in the conversation for 2. He's closed out a World Series, so he's been at the top of the game. And here he is getting beat up a little bit at the beginning of the season, unlike any time in his career, possibly. Certainly here recently. Recent being the last 4 or 5 years.
There's a difference between thinking about when you're going to turn the corner and working to turn the corner. And I think the elite athletes know how to work towards what will get you to turn the corner instead of spending a lot of time thinking about it. You can think all you want, but that tends to get you in trouble. You start to lose the confidence. You start to wonder instead of doing something about it by working towards it. And I think Adam Wainwright's doing just that.
6 in a row. Phil Plantier, the hitting coach for the San Diego Padres. They have had 6 hitting coaches since Petco opened back in 2004. So do you want to run? Do you want gap hitters? Do you want guys that hit for average? Do you want high on base percentage, home run hitters? What do you want? Well, 6 different guys have tried it.
How about a common voice?
Yeah.
Plantier spent a year with the Cardinals.
Finished up in St. Louis. Best years with Boston. The shallow left in for Callas there for the out. It brings in the switch hitting Cabrera. It was 97, so under Tony La Russa he played 42 games in St. Louis. Familiar face down at third base, Glenn Hoffman. He's in his 7th year. He's been around a long time. It's Trevor's brother. And then down at first, you have Dave Roberts. He'll always be remembered for the steal. Back in 2004, Dave Roberts was a member of the Boston Red Sox, 9th inning, and it looked like the Yankees were set to sweep Boston. And Dave Roberts came up with a steal after Kevin Millar had walked. That set the tone for Game 4. They would win that, win the series, win the World Series.
1-0 Cardinals, bottom of the 5th inning. Adam Wainwright with 5 solid innings, and we'll look at his delivery. He starts out looking to the ground, but then he picks up the target, drives to the plate, and by this time his eyes are locked on the Yadier Molina. Throwing downhill, finishing his delivery, and Wainwright showing very good form here tonight. 5 strikeouts for Wainwright, and the walks that we were worried about, not a one.
Here's Chambers, and he looks at a ball low. Fly to center his first time up. Cincinnati in the top of the 8th, leading the Atlanta Braves 4-3. Well, if you're a Cincinnati fan, you wonder, what if they did not trade Josh Hamilton? That time, the remarkable story to make it back from substance abuse issues that he had. And I think we all have seen he's pretty talented. Man, is he good.
Well, he may also have needed a new place and a new start and a new life somewhere else too, and he had a lot of baggage he was bringing to the ballpark, and personal demons he had to fight, and just really credit him for all that he's done to get his life straight. And he is a remarkable player. He was a remarkable player before he had those problems, but his story, for those who've not read it, the details of his story, it's just mind-boggling what he endured.
Have you read his book?
I've read excerpts of it.
It's remarkable. Here's Tampa Bay's first selection, first overall back in 1999. And that is a base hit for Chambers. You know what's overlooked, though, Rick, in that situation? The Chicago Cubs actually had selected Josh Hamilton as a Rule 5 pickup. And then the trade happened, and he wound up in Cincinnati. Starting at 4:45 every Friday home game, it's a Busch Bash. And this Friday, your former teammate will be out there. Vince Coleman, Cardinals.com/promotions.
We have an exciting player on first base right now in Adrian Chambers. Vince Coleman, very exciting player in the 80s. Wainwright, potential bunt situation. He does handle the bat pretty well, although this year, Dan, his average is down a bit. And I wonder if that doesn't have something to do with the elbow issue that he's had, and being very careful about taking too much batting practice, perhaps. He's kind of abandoned his new style of hitting. He had been putting his bat, kind of resting it on his shoulder. Is bunting here, and takes the first pitch low.
Jaime Garcia has 6 hits to lead the Cardinals pitching staff. But how about that? Josh Hamilton was actually selected by the Cubs, and that's overlooked, and then traded to Cincinnati. Rule 5 guy, so then he's got to make the team to stick. Obviously he did, and the rest is history. Runner goes, and a throw down to second. Chambers is thrown out.
Decent jump for Chambers, but the throw right on the money, and he might have been safe. Close play.
And Adam fouls it back right above us. 2 balls and 1 strike. Took a very fine play by the center fielder, Maben. First time that Wainwright was up as he shot one into the gap in left center, and it was tracked down. Only 5 hits combined in this game, 4 for St. Louis.
Adam had a pretty good swing his first at bat. Maben ran the ball down in left center field. Kind of like the return to the old batting style of Adam Wainwright. He really had become a force with the bat. At one point, had become a pinch hitter for Tony La Russa on occasion.
The 2-2. Reaching for it, diving stop, and another fine play down at third by Perino. Second time we've seen him do that. The other time, the victim was Yadier Molina.
Quick jump to his right, pops up, and the good throw. Seems a little better at third base than we saw him at shortstop in terms of his footwork. Chase Headley with the night off, really one of the offensive threats of the Padres. Become probably their best hitter.
And we're back to the top of the lineup. Rafael Furcal. Cardinals have talked about in the upcoming draft looking at shortstops, and you're always looking at pitching. Cardinals have 5 picks in the first 59 draft choices, and San Diego will be busy too. They've got 6 of the first 70. One publication ranked their farm system at #1. That's something that is vastly improved for John Vooch, farm director, and John Mozeliak last 2 to 3 years, the farm system of St. Louis. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Furcal. He's hitless tonight. One of the players that is of intrigue for a lot of people around here, and I know for the guy in the dugout, Tate Matheny, who is Mike's son, an outstanding player, the high school ranks here locally. Off the end of the bat, Maben has a long way to come and makes the catch. Would Mike want his son in St. Louis? The answer to that may surprise you. We'll talk about it when we come back. Suppan and Lynn tomorrow. Lynn 6-1 and Sup is 2-2 in his return to the big leagues. Quite the story with the Padres. And we'll come your way at 6:30. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. More on Sup in a moment, but you know, Mike Matheny's son could be a high round draft choice, and he's already accepted a scholarship to go play at Missouri State. And Mike and I talked for about an hour the other day specifically about how you deal with youth sports. There's a letter that he wrote, Rick, when he was coaching kids. I guess he still is for some guys, you know. I mean,
that's right.
These are
it's all relative.
Young men out there, but
some of them are.
But he was saying one of the things that he does not want his son to have to go through, or the organization, is the pressure of each other. You know, doesn't want special favors as Perino flies out to left. And at some point he said, you know, you're talking about a guy, he goes, look, I was released. I know what it's like. Maybe they'd have to release my son, but they wouldn't want to do that because I'm the manager. All the different things that go into this that Cody McKay and Dave Duncan's son Chris went through, I'm sure. And you know, you hear nepotism, all those things. He said, why not just give him a clean slate, let him be somewhere else? And I said, but your kid's really good. Right. And so he's got a chance maybe to be a major leaguer at this level. And he said, well, that's true. And I said, well, then tough.
Right. Well,
get him in here.
You know, I think if players playing, and you think about Chris Duncan as a classic example of that, there's a guy that had some productive years and had some really productive seasons at the big league level. And you can talk about nepotism all you want, but there's a guy that could just rake. And people are going to say what people say. And I think Dave Duncan probably long forgot about that issue and stopped being concerned about that. But I understand from Mike's point of view, especially as a new manager, he wants to be sure that Tate gets a fair shake wherever he is. And that Matheny on the back is still going to help any way you look at it.
Well, that's one thing that you have to look at is Volquez takes a strike. The fact is, you know, Los Angeles is a great example. We were just there and they had 70 players in camp in spring, and something like 7 or 8 of those guys were sons of former major league players. As that ball will get down, and Chambers can't get to it, and Volquez is on his way to second base.
One of those players that got released, however, in the last couple of years with the Dodgers was a young player by the name of Preston Mattingly. So they don't all make it.
That would be Don's son.
You still have to earn it. Location is up. Looked like it may have been a cutter or a fastball they just got underneath, and Chambers maybe took the wrong route on it, and it gets past him. But the double is probably all that Volquez would have had anyway, and not sure can fault the route of Chambers very much. I think Wainwright would certainly like to have that pitch back. Volquez does not swing the bat very well.
Tate hit a home run, by the way, for Westminster today. He has 11 this season, 11 home runs as a senior in high school. Here's Will Venable, 1 out and a runner at second base. Speaking of dads that played in the big leagues, Will's dad did that. Max played parts of 12 seasons, and Will here at the plate was an outstanding basketball player and nearly chose basketball over baseball. He was a 1,000-point scorer at Princeton, where he was a 2-time captain and MVP of their team. And this guy could play. He actually scored 21 in an NCAA tournament game against Duke. Had offers to go play overseas, but wanted to give baseball a shot, and here he is.
His mom wanted him to give baseball a shot. Enough said.
And a swing and a miss. He does that a lot, though. Struck out 30% of the time last year. Two away, and it brings in Maben.
Hard, sharp curveball, good location. Wainwright's been sharp.
Cameron Maben, we've seen the long strides, tall, lanky. But baseball was always what he wanted to do. He is from Asheville, North Carolina. 10th overall pick by Detroit in 2005. And he was the bat boy for the Asheville Taurus, which now is the Class A affiliate of the Rockies. And one of the bat boys that was there before him, pretty good player named Cal Ripken.
Sounds like the way to get to the big leagues, be a bat boy in Asheville.
Well, Maben said that being around guys that were professional athletes did show him the proper way, in his opinion, to play the game. And they'll tell you, San Diego will tell you, Dave Dombrowski, when he had him in Detroit, the outstanding GM, said this guy will give you everything he's got. He's a world of talent, but he also will try to apply everything he's got in that body to be a winner.
Dan, I played in Asheville, and that just makes me think of all of the hundreds of cities around the United States where baseball is being played throughout the summer, where the guys that we're talking about being drafted are going to start, and they're going to build some allegiances as young players and hopefully get to the big leagues.
Nice play by Furcal. Maben is 0 for 3. Descalso, Holiday, Beltran coming up. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. The Central West End in St. Louis. What do you think, about 8 minutes away from here?
Just about.
Beautiful part of town. The bars, the restaurants. People outside on a night like tonight.
San Diego weather here in St. Louis today. We know that is not going to last.
Apparently it's going to get blistering hot here in St. Louis into the week. Fox Saturday Baseball. It's baseball night in America. The Phillies and the Cardinals Saturday at 6. Presented by Chevrolet. Daniel Descalso will lead it off. Second spot in the lineup. Now filling in for Matt Carpenter. Well, let's just hope that the news turns positive for Carpenter, that it's nothing too serious. Again, if you're just joining us, it was in the first inning. He would double on a ball that he hit into left, and it was called a right side strain or tightness.
Yeah, very general word coming out of the Cardinal camp about the actual injury.
Are we in the NHL here? Is
yeah,
this a
upper
lower body?
Yeah,
you know,
it's
I mean, what do we
actually
got?
middle of the body, but he did it on the swing and really almost couldn't get around the bases, but smelled that double and really kind of gutted it out and got to second base. But we've been around baseball long enough to see that injury, and again, we'll have to wait and see the report, but so many times on the swing it becomes the oblique, and very much kind of the same reaction when Skip Schumacher swung on a pitch just like that in spring training, tried to hit the ball down the left field line.
Matt Holliday tonight is grounded out to short and grounded to second.
Takes a vicious hack, doesn't he?
Have you ever seen a time where, you know, all of a sudden he feels he's fooled and then just kind of lays up on the swing? I don't think we've ever seen that.
No.
We've seen a check swing, but not where he's just very easy with the bat through the zone. Big gap, as you just saw there in left center. And he hits it to the right side off the end of the bat. Thank you very much. Descalso winds up at third. Excuse me, base hit.
Nothing vicious about that. But the results were good for Matt Holliday, his first hit of the night. Had the swing as if he was trying to hit the ball to the right side, but pulls off it just a bit, hits off the end of the bat. First baseman holding him on, that's Yonder Alonso. And Descalso was hit by the pitch, advances to third.
Beltran had come into play tonight. 0 for his last 8. That has changed. RBI single in the first, base hit in the fourth. Runners at the corners. Slices it down the left field line and foul. Boy, look at this crowd here tonight. And we had over 40,000 in the ballpark for a Monday night. No disrespect to the Padres, but not a lot of household names. I feel like Rick Pitino. Tony Gwynn is not running through that door.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Dave Winfield is not coming through that door. It's a credit to the fans that come out. And I know, because you love basketball, you remember that famous
I do remember those
Rick
lines.
Pitino
I totally do. Totally do.
press conference.
And some of those hitters you're talking about who aren't coming through the door in Padres history, they've had some very good teams and some good players. You go back to '84, and that was a really good team. They had Greg Nettles for a while. They had Tony Gwynn, of course. Young Kevin McReynolds. Gary Templeton maybe did not have his best years in St. Louis in some ways, although he did have good years. But when Whitey came, certainly that trade is a memorable one for Cardinals. When Ozzie Smith came to St. Louis, but Templeton was still a very good player for the Padres.
Oh, he was better than very good. He was outstanding at that time.
A lot of tools.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Beltran. And just watching the catcher, John Baker, at times not really quiet behind the plate, stabbing at the baseball, and makes it a little bit harder to sell a borderline pitch to your home plate umpire.
Some of that may be the movement on Volquez's pitches, especially the off-speed pitches, and he's, you know, not the normal catcher either, so that's part of it. And again, a lot of mix-ups with the signs, stepping off, and you know, eventually that kind of wears on a pitcher.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Carlos Beltran. Big gap in right. Chops it towards first. Alonso fires to third. Play at the plate. Descalso is safe. He's in there. Safe. And we'll have an argument. Somehow he snuck the foot in there.
Bud Black doesn't believe it. John Baker doesn't believe it. But Jerry Lane says he's safe, and I believe it. A high tag. Baker tries to block the plate with his foot, but his foot's actually in front of the base, in front of home plate. And I think this is a right call. The throw beats him by plenty of time, but Baker has a high tag. And I say Descalso is safe.
Good call. I agree with you. Rick, you've been in this game a long time, though. How many times do you think, percentage-wise, if a throw beats a runner to a bag, especially, not necessarily to the plate, is he going to be called out at this level?
95.
Yeah. And that's what we just saw there. There's that 5% that goes the other way. But as the replay clearly showed, in our opinion, he's safe.
Yeah, credit Jerry Lane, the home plate umpire, who's the crew chief here, for getting the call right. Really a gutsy move by Descalso, who was not breaking with the pitch, Dan. He kind of just got off the base a bit and then decided to draw the throw. And he couldn't stay. He had to decide either I did stay in a rundown and let Holiday get the third, or I try to score, and he tried to score.
So here is Yadier Molina. Fielder's choice and no RBI for Beltran. It makes it a 2-run lead. Molina tonight is bounced into a double play, 4-6-3. That was in the fourth. And grounded out to third. Took a very fine play by Perino. Backhand to get him. But this is what you're talking about, Rick, where a play goes against Volquez and maybe psychologically you've got him on the ropes.
Yeah, and he's had a trouble in his career overcoming things like this, situations like this. Sometimes as a pitcher you can be your own worst enemy, but he's an outstanding talent, no question about that. You see him kind of sighing a bit, looking up to the stars. Indication of some frustration for Volquez.
Activity. The Padres bullpen. Nobody getting loose for St. Louis.
No RBI on that play, as you said, Dan, and that makes sense because the runner was not going with the pitch. If he takes off, you give him an RBI, but because he really got in the rundown and then really the throw was behind the runner, Descalso, you don't get an RBI.
And again, right-hander Volquez working very slowly. And a part of that is that he cannot get together with his catcher tonight. 2 balls and a strike. Still throwing hard. That one registered at 95. In the dirt. Very good play by Baker.
He didn't catch that ball.
Didn't backhand it.
I'm not sure if this ball just jumped into his glove, but this is way outside, and somehow he's able to get his glove underneath the ball, and that's a 1 out of 30 shot at best. Volquez lucky there aren't runners at second and third right now.
Upstairs to Yachty. A walk. And the bases are loaded. Would this be something for Matt Adams in his first major league home run? They do have a lefty getting loose. And we remind you that the Krispy Kreme dozen deal is underway. If the Cardinals get 9 hits tonight, you're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99 for St. Louis area Krispy Kreme dealers.
Hinshaw's ready. Adams, the lefty, at the plate. Bases loaded, infield in for San Diego. They cannot afford to give up any more runs the way their offense has been sputtering.
And Adams takes a ball. Just asking him to be patient at this point. You know he'd love to launch one. I'm very surprised. I don't know about you, Rick, that they haven't gone with the lefty, and we talked about it before. You know, this might be the ball game right here with the bases loaded, nobody out, a lefty up, and Adams only hit .237 against lefties at AAA.
A lot of conversation going on the mound right now, too.
Volquez has walked 3, and he's allowed 5 base hits. 2-0 St. Louis.
Go pitch here.
The 1-0 to Adams. Check swing and a strike, 1-1. How confident is Volquez with the bases loaded, game on the line, to throw that changeup?
It's his best pitch. He should be confident with it. Should be more confident with that than he is with his fastball.
One-two is skied. Shallow center, who wants it? Taken by the left fielder. So Guzman's got it. Adams can't come through. Bases loaded and 1 out. We remind you the Missouri Tobacco Quit line is available for you at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. 1-800-784-8669. 10,000 smokers in Missouri alone. 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Holiday is aboard along with Beltran and Yadier Molina.
Cameron Maben playing extremely in right center field, kind of an extreme other way outfield positioning against Tyler Green. It's where he hit the long home run here yesterday in right center field, but that is as much as you're ever going to see an outfielder shaded the other way against a position player. Pitcher maybe.
Green has been one of the hottest hitters in this lineup coming into play, 8 for his last 17. No balls and 2 strikes. They realize, the Cardinals do, he's such a good athlete. With his speed, even tried him in the outfield. Former first-round pick in 2005, but only a career .225 hitter.
Green lines one in the left center field. It's a sure triple.
The 0-2 pitch. And Mike Matheny last night talking about, you see the glimpses of what this guy can do. Can he be consistent?
Well, you love him and then you're frustrated by him. I think Cardinal fans would all feel the same way that watched him play over the last 3 years. We talk about how talented he is, and he is. It just doesn't always come out. But when it comes out, you know why we say it.
The 1-2 pitch to Tyler Green.
There are times when a pitcher is not only just crossed up with the catcher, but he's indecisive himself. And it isn't necessarily that he and the catcher aren't on the same page. He just gets ready to throw the pitch and then says, you know what, that's not plan A. And so steps off and wants to do the signs over again just because he's had a better idea.
And Volquez is so frustrated right now with his catcher. I mean, look at that reaction, Rick.
Yeah, that's not a good
in a way,
reaction.
that's just showing up your catcher, isn't it?
And he won't even look at him. Well, this is a battle between pitcher and catcher right now, and he's not even looking at his catcher, not even listening to him, and kind of bad-mouthing him when he leaves him out.
I mean, you can battle with your catcher. You just cannot do that in front of
you battle
your
inside.
teammates. Yeah, you take it out of the camera's view, in the dugout, tunnel.
And that happens all the time.
Absolutely it does.
But not on the field.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, could be a double play. It's botched, and they'll get the man at second. A run does score. And with that, it's now 3-0.
And another guy for Volquez to not want to talk to. And this time it's the shortstop Cabrera.
All right, Rick, I'm going to ask you now, you're Bud Black, and you're watching what's going on the mound. Bud Black spent 7 years as a pitching coach. Oh, by the way, he pitched for 15 in the big leagues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so this isn't a position player at the helm here. It's a pitcher. What is he thinking watching this?
Well, he doesn't like it, for sure.
Green steals second.
Volquez snapped the ball when the throw came back from Baker, who wasn't able to throw down the second base. Now you've got a intentional walk situation. And if you're either Bud Black or Darren Balsley, both the pitching coach and the manager, you realize that you've got a little instructing to do with Edinson Volquez, who's been around long enough to know not to do that.
Bud Black, back in 1985, was part of the Royals World Championship team. And from hurler to skipper, you have John Farrell with Toronto and the aforementioned Bud Black. "15 years in the big leagues, and Bud was part of that Anaheim staff. Started with Mike Scioscia, Joe Madden was a part of that. Ron Renicky, the recently fired Mickey Hatcher. Bases loaded for Adam Wainwright. 3-run lead for St. Louis. One pitch out in front. Well, last year, Volquez did not spend the full season with the Cincinnati Reds. And what happened was he was their opening day starter and even spent time at AAA. He was only 5-7. Dusty Baker sent him down. And Wainwright will have to sit down after the strikeout of Volquez. It could have been much worse. It's 3-0. 5 hits tonight against the righty. Carsoup.com, our email the booth question. Which current Cardinal would you least like to face and why, Rick Horton?
Well, we're centering on the Cardinal left fielder Matt Holliday for a reason. There are guys that you don't want to face because you're afraid they're going to hit you, as in the gap or take you deep. And then there are guys that are afraid are going to hit you with the baseball, and that would be Matt Holliday. And so not wanting to pitch to him wouldn't be so much a function of his ability only, but just the vicious cuts that he takes and kind of having a little fear factor when he's at the plate.
You can now admit to it. Was there a guy?
Dave Winfield was like that. Andre Dawson was like that. I mean, you were literally, I was at some level afraid to pitch to them that they might hit a line right up off my chest.
We don't ever think in those terms, do we? Where the pitcher is, it's always about a guy throwing hard when you're at the plate.
They hit it back harder than you throw it.
Right. Good point. Here's Alonso, and we're underway here in the 7th. We saw the pitcher and catcher, Baker and Volquez. Those two couldn't get on the same page last inning.
Volquez still not looking him in the eye.
Alonso with a base hit out to left. Leadoff man is on, and it brings in Guzman.
Baker's making the effort. And you have to do that as a catcher. You don't want to lose your pitcher, even if you're mad at him. At some level, Baker is becoming psychologist right now. And Volquez not interested, apparently. You mentioned him getting sent down by the Cincinnati Reds. Most of the reason he was sent down was because of him showing up teammates, according to Dusty Baker.
On one side, you have Bud Black as a pitcher. The other side, you've got Mike Matheny as a catcher. I wonder what's going through his mind. He's been in this spot before.
How about saying, hey, by the way, nice play on that backhand ball that I threw about 6 feet outside. How about saying that? Might help the relationship a bit. But you're right, Matheny and a lot of former catchers are managers in the big leagues. And you just can't have that.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, Adam Wainwright looks like Adam Wainwright. You know, this is the kind of guy that we expect every 5th day to dominate, but still coming off the surgery. There's going to be lapses in that, but that has not been the case this evening. He's allowed 3 base hits. He picks up the strikeout. Pitch count only at 77. And that is now 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, and a high percentage of strikes for Wainwright. And when you have that many strikeouts this deep into a game and your pitch count is low, that means you're being a very efficient as you do it. Not a lot of 3-2 counts.
16 of 22 first pitch strikes. And Baker looks at a strike. It's worth repeating the walks that Adam had put together. Had walked a total of 7 in his first 6 starts. Then he had 9 in his last 10 innings of work. Much better tonight.
Baker just trying to keep his wits about him as he's got a pitcher self-destructing. And, you know, a little bit of credit, or at least understanding Volquez's way, as that was an ugly inning. Baker didn't tag a player at the plate. He should have. Cardinals picked up 2 runs on 1 hit. He hit a batter in the foot, which is very frustrating from a pitcher's point of view. So, yeah, the frustration meter is high, but don't take it out on your teammate.
Where do the Cardinals go with the injury with Matt Carpenter? According to the front office, Zach Cox is not hitting. Hamilton really hasn't hit. Pete Kozma isn't really hitting. But if you need a glove, he'd be the guy. Find out more after the game tonight. In the dirt, blocked by Molina, evens it up at 2-2.
Ryan Jackson, Pete Kozma were infielders that the Cardinals saw a lot of in spring training. In fact, Jackson seemed to maybe overtake Kozma a bit. Stayed with the big club longer, got a little more playing time. Cox will be there at some point, but I think if Matt Carpenter's not able to go, you really need somebody with some versatility. I don't think you can take just a corner guy. I think you need somebody that maybe could play third base, the outfield. A utility type player, and there just aren't a lot of choices there.
Jackson hitting .307, the best of the bunch right now. The 2-2 pitch.
Jackson, primarily a shortstop, played some second base in spring training for the first time since high school. Cardinals want him to learn to play second base.
Three-two pitch, tapped foul.
And I say the versatility question, Dan, because the Cardinals have so many question marks, even about the guys who are healthy. Beltran in particular in right field.
Here's another 3-2 from Adam Wainwright. This time the runner goes, a fly ball out to left. Here comes Holliday. Makes a sliding catch. This will be a double play. Throws it back into first. Double play. The sliding catch by Holliday. It's time now for AT&T U-verse reverse recap. Wainwright 7 innings tonight, and he's allowed just 3 base hits. Volquez 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and Beltran snapping an 0 for 8 skid, a couple of base hits.
Nice play by Matt Holliday, and once he makes that diving play, the base runner had already committed. That's Alonso to thinking that ball was going to be down. There's the sliding grab. Takes it off the turf and turns it into a double play.
Chevy called to the pen, and it brings in a lefty, Alex Hinshaw.
Hinshaw spent some times in the big leagues with the San Francisco Giants in both 2008, 2009. 29-year-old left-hander from San Diego State University. Try to give his team a chance to win this ball game. The Padres have really struggled offensively. Cardinals picking up a couple of insurance runs in the 6th inning with just 1 hit. So Furcal, Descalso, and Holiday against Henshaw.
Think about some of the little things that have happened in this game that has led to what could be a 3-run win tonight, maybe more, or maybe a situation where you look back the Padres' perspective and say, well, maybe this is why we are 16 and what could be 28 if they don't come back. They have not done little things tonight in this game.
Little things matter, especially defensively. Just getting a tag down at home plate. Really, that's all you needed to do in the 6th inning, probably to keep all the Cardinal runs from scoring. At that point, Volquez had to pitch defensively. There's an intentional walk in the middle of that,
which should have been 2. Allowed a run to score off the bat of Tyler Green. That's another one.
Exactly.
Henshaw, originally drafted by San Francisco back in 2000. And that's a 4-pitch walk to Rafael Furcal. There's a St. Louis flavor in that San Diego bullpen. Matt Palmer, who grew up a Cardinals fan, Rick, pitched at Missouri State. He's out there, and we've seen him in the past. Does have some big league experience, but a lot of family and friends were at the ballpark tonight. Descalso is hit by a pitch, came around to score last inning. Showing bunt, takes a ball.
It was fun to watch Cashner pitch out of that bullpen last night. I say fun because I didn't have to try to hit against him. 105 miles an hour. You just don't see that very much. Now some more conversation.
They had Rizzo, and then after they got Alonso, they traded Rizzo then to Chicago, and that was part of the Cashner deal. Rizzo's the guy that a lot of people are talking about as being a centerpiece for the future for the Chicago Cubs. One-0 pitch to Daniel Descalso. Runner goes, good jump, and a diving stop down at third. What a play by Perino. That is his 3rd terrific play defensively at third, and he was at short last night. What a great play here.
Well, it looks like a hit and run, but kind of wish because of the result that Descalso didn't swing the bat, because Furcal had that base stolen big time. He had a huge jump on the left-hander. He probably could have stood up at second base. That was an outstanding play. He's been very good at third.
Attendance tonight, 39,151, 39151. So Furcal is the runner at second base, and here's the man that Rick Horton would fear. Matt Holliday, base hit back in the 6th, and he is grounded out to second, grounded to short.
I'm a little afraid up here watching him hit.
Holiday hits it out to deep right. This ball is trouble. It's off the wall. Furcal being waved in. Holiday into second. The throw to the plate is not in time. Holiday with a bullet off the wall in right. That's why you fear that man, because of balls that are hit that hard. That is just an absolute rocket.
It was a rocket, and it was so well played off the wall by the right fielder Venable that they might have had a shot at home, but the second baseman was lined up not towards home. He was lined up towards either second or third base or somewhere in between. Here's the ball coming off the wall, and Venable, strong throw, but it's not the shortest distance between 2 points. It's actually not a straight line, and a fairly close play at the plate. Had he been lined up at home, it might have been closer. It would have been closer.
Chance now for Beltran. It seemed too, Rick, that there may have been just a little hesitation, thinking that Furcal was going to score easily, not realizing there could have been a play at the plate.
And that's part of it. He had to hold up a bit because he thought Venable might be able to run that ball down. And again, here's the throw. It's just kind of offline. It's towards second base, not towards home. And a fairly close play at the plate.
Interesting move here with Beltran at the plate. They'll walk him to get to Molina and set up the potential double play to get out of the inning. Molina was robbed at third by Perino. Bounced into a double play, and he also walked. Let's turn now to our Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Holiday.
Little cutter that didn't cut, and Holiday drove it off the right field wall. Very close to leaving the ballpark the other way. Cardinals have a lot of players, Dan, on this team with power the other way. I'd say it's almost a team-wide description. You think of Tyler Green's power last night, Alan Craig, David Freese, Matt Adams now has good power the other way.
Baker having a word with our home plate umpire. And there is Palmer getting loose. Matt Palmer. Watch out. Two strikes on Yadier Molina. As we play here in the Cardinals half of the seventh. 4-0 lead for St. Louis. Good at bat here by Molina.
More pitches you see, the more apt you are to see a hanger. Spoiled off a couple of good pitches. Looking for that pitch Holiday got. Pitch up and away.
And another 0-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Chance of Yachty here at the ballpark, and it's 2-2. Darren Ackerfeld is the bullpen coach. San Diego Padres battling pancreatic cancer and using baseball as his outlet, and watching the young man from Missouri getting loose. Brings in Matt Adams. Sunday, June 10th. Kids ages 15 and younger can collect a lunch cooler bag. Compliments of Powerade and Shop and Save. Perfect way to kick off your summer. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Lots of good seats. Weekend against the Cleveland Indians. Chris Perez came into the game tonight to a standing ovation, the former closer here in St. Louis. Now closing for the Indians. And I bring that up because he was quite vocal over the weekend, questioning the Indians fans. Paraphrasing here, but essentially saying, why would certain players want to come play in Cleveland? And the fans tonight gave him a standing O. Good for them. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Adams tonight, pair of walks, came up with the bases loaded and flied out to left. No RBI. One pitch. Adams, a ground ball weakly hit to the right side. Cardinals strand 2. They add to their lead. It's a 4-0 lead for Mike Matheny and the Cardinals. We're back, and it's Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio with our Bommarito Sports Update, Pat Paris.
All right, Dan, thank you very much. Reds and Braves tonight in Cincinnati. Brandon Phillips up in the bottom of the 4th, and he drives the pitch deep to right center field for his second homer of the night. Reds hold on 4-3 the final. Rollins Chapman earns his second save of the season since he's won 4 straight. Back to you.
Thank you, Pat. Wainwright pitching into the 8th here, so the Cardinals, if they can hold on, they remain in first place, up by a half game over Cincinnati. Cardinals would jump to 24-19, but still 6 outs to go. And in baseball, that can be an eternity.
It sure can. A nice feat for the Cardinals to have been in first place since day 1 of the season. It was a jeopardy last night. Cardinal come from behind victory, kept them in first place. And I don't know that that really matters a whole heck of a lot in May, what place you're in, but I guess if you had your choice, you'd rather be in first and second, so why not?
3 hits allowed. It's a 4-run lead. Pitch is popped up. Left field line. Holiday is over, reaching in, and did he make the catch? No, he did not. It's one I know he'd love to have back. He's made a nice play tonight, sliding. Grab that turned into a double play.
Fans gave him space.
Yep.
And I think get a glove to the head right about here. But you know, watching that play, I wonder if Mike Matheny and Greg Hauker are thinking, uh-oh,
I was.
My left fielder. You bet.
And if I am, I know they are. 2-2 pitch. See, when you have a play like that and you're a fan, now your cell phone, it's going to blow up. The text messages come in. the phone. Hey, I saw you. Why didn't you grab it? You looked like you were scared. Didn't you help Holiday?
How come he couldn't put his glove on your head?
Where's Bartman?
Part of the experience now.
2-2.
Still talking about it.
How quick of a hook in the back of the mind of Mike Matheny would you have here on Adam Wainwright, knowing what he's gone through, the struggles he's been through, but he's only at 92 pitches. That bullpen is beat up a little bit right now too. Good pitch on the inside corner and a strikeout. Come back to that in a moment. It's time for our trivia question, presented by AT&T. Who was the player to be named later in the Mark Worrell for Khalil Green trade? AT&T trivia question. He's turned out to be a really good pitcher for San Diego, one the Cardinals would love to have back, and that's Luke Gregerson.
I was with Tony La Russa the day that Gregerson became that pick, and he said, I have to use him in a game today, but I'm afraid that if he pitches, they'll take him, and I don't want him to have him because this guy's going to be really good. And he pitched in a spring training game, was lights out, and he became that player to be named later and has become a real good part of the Padres bullpen. He really could be a closer with
nasty
the kind of stuff
slider.
He's got great stuff, and he throws hard.
So going back to that, now your thinking may change a little bit with 2 outs, nobody on, and thinking about what you may do with Wainwright.
This is as deep as he's been into a game all season long. So you do have that thought in your head, but he doesn't look like he's laboring right now. So, you know, again, back to Tony La Russa, we learned from him over the years. You watch the guy, and you have to kind of see if he's showing any signs of laboring, any signs of tiring. Wainwright just seems just as sharp now as he did 3 innings ago. But there is a limit to that. I think if he gets up over 105 to 110 pitches, which he'll be at shortly, you know, maybe 8 innings is enough. At 96 now.
96 right now, and here's the 0-2 pitch. Curveball and a strikeout. Racking those up tonight. The K's for Adam Wainwright. Four to nothing, and it's our Schnucks difference maker. We turn it over to Ricky Horton and a look at the night for Adam Wainwright.
9 strikeouts for Wainwright, just 3 hits. He's been dominating. The curveball's been there, but so has the fastball. He's had good velocity, good control, really everything you want from Wainwright. And he had started to maybe go back a step, Dan, after taking 3 steps forward, and I think he just has taken 2 more steps forward with what he's done here tonight.
Caruthersville native Matt Palmer takes over. Our Chevy call to the pin. That's part of Missouri, is about a 2.5 drive south of St. Louis. As James Russell is getting loose. And there's a strike at the knees to Tyler Green. Palmer grew up a Cardinals fan. As he was warming up, I was telling you how he attended several games. Had over 20 tickets out yesterday, and even more tonight and tomorrow. Back in his home state as he pitched at Missouri State. It's pretty amazing, the players that have come out of Missouri State, and there's one with the Diamondbacks now. You had Bill Miller from DeSmet High School, who was a batting champion. You have Brian Howard, who's coming back from the Achilles heel injury with the Phillies. Palmer's on the mound. Pretty good baseball school.
I'm impressed that he kicked in 20 tickets for a game. For a rookie to do that, there was a time where players actually got tickets to games, but they pay for them now.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Now, you may think he's a rookie, but he has pitched sparingly in the big leagues. So he's got that veteran feel to him, Rick.
Well, the feel and the wallet are two different things. He doesn't have enough time, really, has he?
See, the wallet can be really big once you get a lot of time in, and then
understand
it goes away fairly quickly too.
Well, it's a nice job to have, and there isn't a player that ought to be complaining about the benefits of being a Major League Baseball player, the cities you get to go to, and the people you get to meet. And as Tyler Green told about 500 kids before the game, he says, I get to still be a kid.
That's great.
I'm playing a game. A young fan asked him, you know, what's so fun about being a Cardinal, or what's the most fun about being a Cardinal? He says, I get to still be a kid because I've loved baseball my whole life, and I don't have to fully grow up.
Nice round of applause for Adam Wainwright. Palmer, he would have made this team out of spring, according to Bud Black, but he suffered a hamstring injury. He could start, spot start, long relief, setup. 13-7 over 5 big league seasons with San Francisco and the Angels, and now San Diego. Sometimes you can be a kid and have a little fun in the dugout too.
Why not?
Adam reaching for it, and this will send us to the 9th. Nice inning of work by Matt Palmer back in St. Louis. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light, and by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, live Moss. This is exactly what the Cardinals needed for both Wainwright, for the bullpen, and for this team.
What they needed first is what they got last night with a come-from-behind victory, and to get a little excitement going into Game 2. And happy to be home after a rough road trip. Dan, they lost 4 straight and a heartbreaker on Sunday in Los Angeles, and now Adam Wainwright being Adam Wainwright in Game 2 of this series. And it's amazing how your starting pitching can affect everything about the game. All of a sudden 4 runs is enough on 6 hits. You don't feel like the Cardinals have had offensive problems. And bullpen, you don't have to worry about it. The defense has been good.
T. Coney is the pinch hitter and picks up a base hit to start the top of the 9th. Wainwright has struck out 9. Top of the lineup, the speed of Will Venable. 0 for 3. There's a ground ball. Adams spinning, gets the lead man. Two career shutouts. Maybe a bit surprising. You might think there'd be more than that with the kind of stuff that Adam possesses.
Shutouts are hard to come by these days. Most managers won't let their pitchers go that far. You get the closer warming up, and you just kind of go to him as soon as possible. Bring in the guy blowing a 98. But in this case, Wainwright is, in Mike Matheny's estimation, deserved a chance at the 9th inning and deserved a chance to go the whole way. This will be pitch number 100.
Taken low by Cameron Maben. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is coming up. Big story tonight will be Adam Wainwright. 1-0 pitch to Cameron Maben.
Another base runner, and I think you take him out.
Mott is getting loose. Cardinals tried to go for the 4-out save from Mott last night. Two balls and one strike. Cutter. And a good one.
Sharp, low in the strike zone. Maven will be very tough to double up.
Two. Ground ball for Kyle charging. Only play to go to first, and he got him. Maven gets down the line, as you mentioned, Rick, so well. Wainwright just applauded Rafael Furcal for that play. Budweiser player of the game, no surprise here. Adam Wainwright, 1 out away from going the distance. And I'm sure for Adam some emotions right now.
No question. Fans understanding the moment and how much this means to Adam Wainwright in his recovery.
Ball one.
Wainwright is not a guy that likes to settle for average.
One ball, one strike. Alonso with a base hit to left. He struck out twice. This crowd, 39,000 plus, most of them on their feet. Two strikes on Alonso. Wainwright 1 strike away from going the distance. Mike Matheny is saying, please end it right here.
I don't think he wants a decision that a walk would force.
Pitch count at 109. Walked him. This is why you're at the helm of the team, to take those decisions away from the players. And as much as you want that complete game for him, you know he's dying to get it, but big picture, is it the right thing to keep going?
It's a tweener right here. I understand both sides of this, and I think Mike Matheny wants Adam Wainwright to be able to make a statement that he can throw a complete game, and he's all the way back. I mean 9 innings back. But it's a gamble.
Guzman, ground ball to short. This should do it. A flip to second. Wainwright goes the distance. A 4-hit shutout for Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright all smiles, and he should be. He and Molina, the big hug, and his teammates sharing in the joy of the moment for Adam Wainwright. Third career shutout. Masterful performance here at Busch.
Don't go anyway. We've got Missouri Lottery Cardinals live in our post-game show. It comes your way next.
Game is over. What a performance by Adam Wainwright. Chris Duncan and I here at Lumiere Place, the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, ready to break it all down. This was the performance we were looking for, and finally he delivers it.
It's amazing what good starting pitching does for your ball club, and Adam Wainwright, by far, hands down, his best start of the year. He had good velocity, good command, he kept his composure, and he looked absolutely fantastic. He had a put-away pitch tonight.
He certainly did. A complete game. More from Chris coming up. Plus, after last night's late inning heroics, the Cardinals looking for another hero tonight, and they are able to win a game number 2 against those Padres. Plus, Adam Wainwright back on the hill looking to take down a team that he's dominated, and Waino is able to get right against the Friars. We'll take you back to Busch for Cardinal player reaction and mic'd up. Plus, dunk on the art of keeping your hands inside the baseball. Hey, no technical difficulties tonight. Missouri Lottery Cardinals live. Just kidding, no technical difficulties. We'll be back live from Lumiere Place. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is next.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
It's a gamble.
Guzman, ground ball to short. This should do it. A flip to second. Wainwright goes the distance. A 4-hit shutout for Adam Wainwright.
That's right, Adam Wainwright goes the distance. The Cardinals a 4-0 shutout of the Padres. We are live at Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, Lumiere Place, the home of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live during the week when the team is at home. We welcome you officially inside the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Place with former Cardinal Chris Duncan, who used to rake pretty good and also used to see what Adam Wainwright could do firsthand from an outfield position. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we'll talk much more about Adam Wainwright's night. We'll take you back over to Busch Stadium to get reaction. Also, we'll break down several of the pitches for Adam Wainwright, bring you some mic'd up from Mike Matheny, plenty more Cardinal reaction. And Dunk's going to talk about the art of keeping your hands inside the baseball. We won't want to miss that as well. You know exactly what that's about. You do know what it's like to play behind an Adam Wainwright when Adam Wainwright is as good as he is tonight.
I think the thing I noticed tonight, especially early in the game, is Adam Wainwright had unbelievable command. That first inning, he came out and he was absolutely hitting the mitt with every single pitch, not just his fastball, but he was commanding his cutter, his breaking ball, and he even commanded his changeup at times. Didn't throw a ton of them, but he did feature a changeup that he located. But he had good velocity on that cutter, Pat. Early in that game, I saw a couple cutters at 89, 90, even as high as 91, 92 miles an hour. We haven't seen that from Adam Wainwright all season.
Absolutely right. You look at the 9 strikeouts, and that is a season high. 3rd career shutout for Waino, and just 1 walk. Remember, the problem is last 2 starts, both losses, he walked 9 batters. Let's get back over to Busch Stadium because moments ago our Dan McLaughlin was able to catch up with Adam Wainwright after that complete game shutout. Dan?
Well, thank you, guys, and our player of the game, no doubt, is Adam Wainwright. Adam, you're all smiles down there, getting the high fives and the hugs from your teammates. What's going through your mind right now?
Man, I don't know. I'm just really, I'm really happy, man. It's good to be back and competing again, but go throw a game like I used to throw them. I don't know, man.
It clearly is obviously emotional for you with everything that you've gone through, and now to come back and do this. Let's go back to the 9th inning and talk a little bit about that final out. You walk Alonso. Did you think at any point in time that Mike may pull you? And if so, would you have made sure that he didn't?
Well, I was promised 15 pitches, so I think I did it on my 15th pitch. Not 100% on that, but I think I did. That's what Jake said, so I believe him. I don't know, man. I wasn't ready to give the ball up, that's for sure.
You've been a 20-game winner. You've closed out a World Series. What does a game like this mean for you personally?
It's very special. It's very special.
And people see the emotions. Why so emotional here tonight?
This is a long way. A long way to go, and to do it in front of this crowd is pretty big.
At any point in time, Adam, in trying to come back from the surgery, not to say that you were doubting yourself, because I know you don't do that, but did you think, man, what's going on here? I'm not back to the level that I know I can be, or maybe where I should be?
Yeah, you know, it's a frustrating thing sometimes. It's a long process, but you just have to keep grinding. And I'm not out of the woodwork yet. I'm just going to keep going pitch by pitch. I keep telling myself today between innings, you haven't done anything yet. Just go pitch to pitch and inning to inning. So that's what I did. And tonight Yadi called a great game. Thought the umpire did a great job. My defense obviously played awesome. Rafael Furcal played huge behind me, and Matt made that amazing play and get the double play right there in the 7th. That was big for me.
Well, Adam, we can't thank you enough for stopping by. I know it's very emotional for you. Go enjoy it with your teammates. Get in that clubhouse, and congratulations.
All right, thanks.
It's Adam Wainwright. What a class act, Rick. And you hear those emotions. It gives you goosebumps thinking about how far he's come.
Well, watching that interview, watching Adam and you have that conversation is part of the reason, one of the main reasons I love sports and I love baseball. And it's part of the reason we love Adam Wainwright is he's not afraid to be emotional and kind of lay it out there and say, look, it's been a long time coming for me to get this opportunity. And you can tell that there's a big heart going on with that. And the thoughts spinning around in his head, he can't even put into words yet, and may take him till tomorrow before he can.
What did he do tonight that really separated him from some of the other starts that we've seen?
I liked his fastball tonight, and yes, the curveball is where he gets the strikeouts, and the cutter was good too, but I think the fastball being fast enough and having good velocity and good life to it really kept everybody honest. With all the lefties in the lineup early, we talked about him being able to establish that inside part of the plate, which he did with both the cutter and the four-seamer. Then the curveball becomes unhittable away because guys are protecting in, and they kind of flail away at the curveball. So really just a masterful performance. He gave credit to Yadier Molina, and he should have.
Final thought on this. There's certain guys that, we're human beings too. You just pull for because you know the guy is a consummate professional. He's good to people. He's good to the fans. Do you think about being on the plane ride and the bus rides with him at times, and you can see he's dejected, but doesn't let that affect his teammates? For him to come out and do this, it really is special.
Yeah, no, he's a very good teammate, and you realize when you're in the Cardinal clubhouse and when you're around this team a lot that he's a guy that everybody looks up to, everybody likes, and everybody understands. Not just that they like him, but they want to follow his example because he's a guy that doesn't settle for second best. We talked about there in the telecast. That really defines Wainwright. He doesn't want to just be good. He wants to be really good. He wants to be great at what he does, and so he throws his heart into it, throws his effort into it, and he has a very high bar of performance expectation that he sets on himself, and I would say that he reached that bar tonight.
Our thanks to Adam Wainwright. Congratulations to him. Cardinals, by the way, win this game and look for a sweep tomorrow as we send it back to you.
Guys, thank you very much. Terrific job. The tweet is on, and this viewer says, "Stop making me cry, Adam Wainwright." I think we all agree with that. Adam Wainwright, as Rick Horton was pointing out, when you watch baseball on the field, it's the greatest reality show there is, the professional sports. And we watched a reality of Adam Wainwright finally getting back to where he wanted, and then you saw the emotion of Adam Wainwright on the field.
That's an extremely emotional moment. He's the heart and soul of this ball club, and a lot of people don't see all the hard work that goes into rehabbing a serious injury like that, and Adam Wainwright's been at it for over a year, and for him to finally get results like that, to go out there and throw a complete game shutout, that's extremely emotional. I've been through surgeries, Pat. I've had hip surgeries, neck surgeries. It's an absolute daily grind. Every day you wake up, go into that rehab, finding a way to get through the 4 and 5 hours of rehab, to finally get back on the field and not just play, but to get back out there and have that type of success. That's humongous for Adam Wainwright.
You mentioned the leader that he is, and clearly he is. He was still the leader of this ball club all the way through the run in the regular season, getting into the postseason, and what they were able to do. But there's something about not being able to necessarily contribute on the field that he wanted to, obviously, and that was his focus, to get back. And And if nothing else tonight, the complete game shutout, it's kind of the testament to all that hard work that he's finally made it back.
And I think Adam Wainwright expects greatness when he goes out there. You're talking about somebody that's won 20 games, somebody who's gotten Cy Young votes, and everyone's telling him to be patient. They're telling him that it's not going to come quickly. But Adam Wainwright's got high expectations, and I think everybody sets the bar a little higher when you're talking about Adam Wainwright. He wanted results immediately. He tried to be patient. Now he goes out there and he's finally starting to get some results. His fastball was back, good command of his cutter, and I thought his breaking ball was sharp. He finished almost every single breaking ball tonight. Not one of those breaking balls backed up on him. So this is a huge game for Adam.
Yeah, very large step forward for Adam Wainwright tonight. Much more on his outing this evening coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Right now, though, it's back over to Busch Stadium. Time for a little Mic'd Up, brought to you by Les at Mike Matheny's comments.
Tonight?
I think that would be a good description. He was locked in. He just had that look that, we saw him get closer and closer, and it's nice to have that kind of reward, that kind of outing all the way from start to finish, and that'll be one he's going to build on.
How much different was his stuff tonight versus how he was able to effectively use what he had?
I think both, but I saw good movement. I saw him really speeding up the lefties with a nice cutter on the inside part. He was owning the inside part of the plate, which made his curveball more effective and changeup. But the curveball was set up by him being able to establish his fastball, and he did that to both sides of the plate, to lefties and righties.
He had the 2 strikeouts in the first. Could you tell pretty early on he was on?
He looked good. It looked like he had a good tempo going, and it looked like things were sharp. And, from the side, you can get a nice look at the tilt he has on his ball, too, and you can see the up and down movement, and you can tell when his sinker's really getting some bite to it, and that helps get those ground balls.
Like he had that swagger tonight, didn't he? Just the way he comports himself out there.
Yeah, but I thought he's had that pretty consistently, and he just he believes in himself, and rightfully so. He's accomplished a lot in this game, and has the utmost respect of everybody in that clubhouse and opponents as well. But yeah, you could tell when he got going, he just couldn't wait to get back up there and throw another pitch. I think the same thing we kind of see with Jaime right now, where you just tell he feels good. So just keep giving him the ball.
You touched on it, but it's obviously been a battle for him, and for him to kind of have the hard work and the stuff from the side sessions pay off in the game. It's got to feel good for him.
Yeah, and you need to have that bone thrown to you. And he's had some good outings and not a lot of offensive production. He's had a couple rough ones with everything. Just the wheels just seemed to fall off. But you could tell that he was getting close, and that was fun to watch today.
Kind of update on Matt Carpenter, can you share?
We don't have a complete update, but the initial response was, looks like he may be better off than what we thought. When we were taking him off the field, it looked pretty bad. But when the trainer's room, and sounds like there's something going on there, but it might not be to the extent. Day to day, we'll find out. We'll find out more in the morning. Probably get an MRI, take a picture, get more info.
Just felt something when he swung on the side there? Or?
Yeah, I looked up and and he wasn't even close to first base, and something's wrong because the guy only has one speed, and he was having trouble running. And I've had that injury before, and so as soon as I saw him halfway first base, I had a pretty good idea because his legs looked okay, and it's a nasty injury, and as Skip can attest to this year again, but. Hopefully what the trainers are seeing right now is something we can get in front of.
Mike, how about the defense of Rafael Furcal tonight? Seemed like every time they had a guy on second base, he made pretty great plays.
Yeah, great plays. And he's just smart. That play at the end, not trying to do anything big, but just trying to get the out in there in the ninth. And that was a tough play to make, too. And he's ranging both ways really well. And just, he's quarterbacking out there. He's doing a great job.
You've talked a lot about the starting pitching needing to get back to kind of where they were in April. What can this do, not only to reset the bullpen, but also maybe to get them rolling the last 2 nights?
Both are good points with the bullpen needing another day. That's huge. But I think it's just setting that bar now. We had that from the beginning with Kyle in Miami on day one, kind of set the bar for what everybody else should be trying to live up to in that healthy competition that happens in your starting staff. And for Wayno to go out and do what he did today, raise that bar, and it's going to be fun to watch the guys compete amongst themselves, and that's the kind of thing that makes our team better.
Was the last hitter? The last hitter that he faced?
Most likely, yeah. yeah, we got to that point where pushing the envelope with his pitch count. You know, we're still keeping an eye on him, even though, you know, it had been a good fight out there on the mound. I imagine getting him off if he hadn't let up a run yet. But yeah, it's just trying to still be smart with him. But that was most likely his last hitter.
Got a couple clutch hits from Holiday, and then a nice fielding play in left field.
Yeah, great play. I mean, that was a very aggressive play, which we love to see from anybody. And the swings he had, you know, when he hit the ball as hard as he did on a line off the right field wall, you know, you're real close to being very locked in. So that was those were all good signs of a good day for Matt.
Yeah, no, they won't.
All right, guys.
When we continue on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, much more on Adam Wainwright's complete game shutout of the Padres. Stay with us on Fox Sports Midwest.